All right, we will go ahead and get this committee of the whole meeting started. We do have 2 items on the agenda. Those were carryovers from the previous meeting. And I think the first item, 2027 or 2026, 2027 committee assignments, that might be quick and easy because I believe it was just one thing that we were waiting on, I think, and that was the chair of, I forgot which committee it was. One of them.
And there's no decision.
That was John's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Gears, if I may, I did speak with Ms. Sullivan about that matter, and we collectively decided that I would chair that community engagement committee.
All right. So then I think that was it, right? That was the only outstanding.
That is correct.
Item.
Everything else, I believe, we settled and got the names for, and
All right.
everyone was happy, or as happy as they could be. I don't know. That sounded passive aggressive. Sorry. I assume
Folks are set.
folks are satisfied with what they have.
All right. If someone can forward me the final list, and then I will make sure that we have those copies available and included in the January 1st meeting packets. That will be one item that will be included in that packet.
Do you have a, Mr. President?
Yes.
Do you have a copy of that, Mr. Moore, or should we message Mr. Province? Because I know he had a platform with it.
I believe I have it. Is that helpful to review right now, or?
Maybe we can. That's
Probably not a bad idea. Dot our eyes.
Okay, so for law, ordinance, environment, public safety, I have Ms. Hoover, Mr. Provins, Ms. Bowling, Mrs. Bowling, and Mr. Girton. For finance, budget, audit, claims, I have Mrs. Franzen, Mr. Provins, myself, and Mr. Girton. For parks, recreation, public places, I have Mrs. Franzen, Mrs. Hoover, Mr. Girton, and Ms. Sullivan. Streets, housing, health, I have Mrs. Franzen, Mrs. Hoover, myself, and Ms. Sullivan. And then for the community engagement, I have Mr. Provins, Mrs. Bowling, myself, and Ms. Sullivan. Any objections?
your chair on that one.
Correct. So for the chairs, I have Mr. Provins for law, ordinance, environment, et cetera. I have Mr. Girton for finance, Mrs. Franzen for parks, Mrs. Hoover for streets, housing, and health, and myself for community engagement.
All right.
Thank you.
The ad hoc committee, how did we land on that? We decided that we did not need that?
I think
because-
we decided we didn't need it because we could just do stuff in the committee of the whole.
Correct.
I mean, we could just put it in there like, hey, we need to change something. Someone realized they aren't able to be on this committee more, whatever. And then you can easily change it that way.
Yes. The membership of the committee is not part of the standing rules. So that is something if, we get 6 months in and let's say someone doesn't want to be on the parks anymore and would rather be on finance. It does not take an active council to enact that. Yes.
Redistribute. Okay. Sounds good.
And then the other 2 things to confirm or to clarify. Sam, you are listed as President Pro Tem and Emily as Clerk Pro Tem.
Correct.
All right. Questions on any of the committee assignments? Then we will jump on in to the standing rules. Right now, so 2 of the major change under request to address council, we removed the at least 10 minutes prior to just prior to the beginning of the meeting. And under that, item B, that has been removed as well, since it would technically fall under the president of council's purview.
In terms of order, there was a conversation about moving the administration reports,
Yes.
which I kind of like the idea of. Where do you guys think that would best go? Would it be right after public hearings?
If I may jump in, my thinking, like just big picture, was that like public guests, to sort of give them the opportunity to be heard, but then get out with sort of the least amount of time investment. And then similarly, from the administration side, those are sort of the other guests of the council meeting, if you will. And so to give them sort of the right to talk earlier, the opportunity to talk earlier, and then excuse themselves if they need to. So in my way of thinking anyway, in that was to bump those things sort of more forward in the meeting. The specific suggestion was to have, let's see here, requests to address council to go right after item F, minutes of previous meetings. So that would come before any special presentations. And then to put administrative reports kind of up in that
Right after.
special presentations range. And then basically thereafter, it sort of gets down to the like council only agenda items.
I think that makes sense, just to make it as easy as possible for people who aren't elected to be here and be a part of it and not have to spend as much time waiting for their turn to speak.
So you would suggest administrative report, request to address council, then administrative, then special presentation?
Well, now that I'm looking at this, might public hearings go up there? And I know that's sort of a select
That's
number.
limited.
Yeah, it's very limited.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think just for any instances where we do have public hearings, I think those should be sort of as early as possible as well. But yeah, I think Ms. Hoover, the idea would be roll call, amendment, minutes, and then request to address council, public hearings,
Special presentations. And then administrative reports. I think that seems like a logical order to me.
Would there be any benefits to having administrative before special presentations?
I wouldn't think so. I think it'd be better to have that before the administrative reports. There's usually someone like the fire chief who,
Most of the time, those special presentations are someone from the administration anyway.
yeah,
So that way, if there was anything that they wanted to add afterwards,
they'd be right there.
it would be right after. Well, okay, so I'll since we're in the process of changing some things around, would it make sense to have the public hearing before special presentations, since people who are here for a public hearing are probably only there for that reason? Why have them sit through a 30-minute presentation if they're only there for that public hearing?
No, I agree. I was thinking request to address council, then public hearing, then special presentation, then administrative report. Would that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so minutes, request to address council, public hearing, special presentation, admin reports. All right.
Sounds good.
And aside from that, everything else is fine
Yeah, I think
as
so.
is. Okay. All right. Any other items within the rules?
The only thing that I had, which I don't feel strongly about, but I figured it'd be good to bring up, is so we have our vacation day in July. And that was because Norwood Day
Correct.
typically fell on that. I didn't know if there was,
You want to
I
move
think-
to December?
the thing is, like, I went back and forth because I know in December there's a lot of appropriations changes that need to happen. So even though it would be logical, like, since there's a lot of holidays, it would be unpleasant for the administration to have us out of chambers that day. So, yeah, I didn't know. I think it's good to have a vacation day, and I think, end of July is totally fine. I just figured it'd be good to bring up. And yeah, the December was like what I was originally going to propose. And I'm like, no, I can't be mean to everyone. Because then we'll probably have to call a special meeting
would be
anyway.
special.
Yeah, so,
And then you're dealing with, we would potentially have to have multiple.
Yeah.
If we don't have at least 6 people
because
present.
people, yeah.
I think that could,
Yeah, I mean, it's fine to say as it is. Like, I just figured I didn't have anything else with the rules. Everything else I was pretty happy with. The committee changes and the order of council is what I had on my list to bring up, so.
If I may speak on that, I think my 2 cents on it would be that, like, quite frankly, I'm not worried about like a vacation day in July. If we just have every second and fourth Tuesday, that's perfectly fine by me. I think, like, and I'm not suggesting this, but I think frankly the one window where I was like most taxing sort of for me, and I think I could kind of collectively sense it in the group, was like the fourth Tuesday in October, like that kind of time frame. And I'm not saying that I'm advocating for that, but I guess I would be fine if there was sort of not a defined Tuesday off, just in that sense.
I second that concept or that idea. Knowing or just looking back on this last July, at least for Public Works, it was a hardship for us to be gone that Tuesday. There were several ordinances that needed to be passed, and it was a long period of time that we were gone, just the way the calendar fell with that day off. And so, I mean, I'm fine if we want to take a day off, but I think there are implications to that I'm more interested in maybe not having a day off than I am having a day off.
That makes sense. Yeah. Would it be possible in the rules to not have a specified date, but say, like, at council's discretion, they may remove one council meeting from the calendar, given at least 1 week of notice? I don't know.
Would that have to be noticed, or maybe we can do that anytime, right?
I mean, I guess, yeah.
we could.
I get what you're saying about like
Yeah.
intentionally setting the expectation, like if it is hard for people to like plan their personal lives and vacations around not missing council meetings. I know that is something that we all like try to do. So it would be helpful if there was one like designated, we all know there's no council meeting in this chunk of time, so like you are free to take, but then you get into like, when is it convenient for everybody? Like when it's convenient for other people almost never works for me. I don't care about my schedule, but I think there's like, I get what you're saying. And also we can cancel a meeting
That is true.
anytime.
That is true. Yeah.
My thoughts are we only meet twice a month, and I don't feel a need to have a July day off. I know on occasion, we've all had, I was in Europe, I missed a meeting. We all occasionally have had to do that. And I would rather probably do that than have a actual day scheduled off because of the backlog that it creates. So that's what I would lean towards.
So it feels like maybe just taking it out entirely.
Take out that number 8.
Take out that
says
number 8
council
entirely.
shall take its vacation
Yeah.
break on the 4th Tuesday in July.
Yep. I think that would be good, and we still have discretion if there's happens to be nothing really happening on a given Tuesday. Because I know there's been a couple of meetings where there's been like one item that isn't time sensitive, so.
How long has that been in effect, Mr. President?
Probably for as long as the
Norwood Day.
combination of council on Tuesdays and the parade on Tuesday.
And that's 100 years?
So I don't know that it goes back that far.
Love. Yeah, if the parade's not going to be on Tuesday anymore, then that removes that, obstacle. And I think it makes sense having it, assuming it's going to continue happening on Friday, which, so the city is not really the person that does that. The chamber is.
On the topic of no Tuesdays off, I do think that, I'm open to how this comes to fruition, but I do think that it would be important to perhaps under section C, where it defines regular meetings of council, special meetings of council. I think it would be helpful to actually stick fixed date our committee meetings, just so that, for example, if somebody is really passionate about parks, they know that the third Tuesday at 6:30 or whatever every month is going to be parks. I think we've done that to some degree with the finance committee in the sense that it seems to be effectively recurring prior to the second Tuesday meeting. And so I think in that it one preserves the time, but two kind of forces the issue of oh yeah, we do have stuff to be talking about. And I think to the extent that the other committees might have sort of a fixed date approach, I think that could be helpful for community engagement with committees of interest.
I agree. I don't think that needs to be in rules.
Correct.
Yeah, it does not be,
I
but I
think that
agree.
can be highly encouraged for all of the
I think it
chairs.
should happen, and I don't think, A, we can make that decision here without everybody who is going to be on those committees, and B,
Well, this
Yeah,
council
I wanted
can't make
to-
a decision for
Well,
the
true,
next
but I
council
mean-
anyway.
Yeah,
And this is committee of the whole.
I would think that we wouldn't want to set that yet.
Yeah.
But I agree that I do think,
and I do plan on doing it for parks.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm already trying to think about what day would work, typically recurring for me, so.
Okay.
Mr. President, just something to point out. It's minor, but I think it's significant. On C2, the second line from the bottom, each member shall have not less than 24 hours at his usual place of residence. If we could fix that his to,
Yep.
There.
His/her.
yeah.
You could just say there,
Yeah, there's,
simple.
Also, how do we enforce that? That I have to be notified at my place of residence?
I feel like we just text.
Your internet place of residence. Your electronic place of
Yeah,
residence.
and so we can, all right, I'll read that one.
Could it be like
I
notified
know, I had
with
to read.
confirmation or?
Also,
I also think that the original version of these predates council having city email addresses
yeah,
and their cell numbers and ability to text.
be good to update that for the digital age.
Right.
We used to get our packets at the house.
Yes,
oh, really?
yes, they were delivered to the house.
Oh, yes.
By the secretary.
The first
By
packet
the
I got
police.
delivered to my house. I would get them from the.
Oh, yeah, the police
I
or
think
some
the,
city employee would.
auxiliary.
I have delivered some in the past.
Yes.
I think just my very first packet came to my house.
I don't think I was ever privileged to that.
Well, in this case, Mr. Gears, can we reinstate that you are personally delivering things to us?
I was clerk at that time, just to clarify.
Miss Goins, nice to see you.
Perfect timing.
And I need a stout handshake when I receive the packet. Yes.
And I assume all the public notices are going to be updated.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too, Susan, just on
I think we mentioned that at the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have that ordinance that we passed about updating the places of
Correct.
posting. And so I would just assume that whatever C3 is would just be
Yes.
an extract from that ordinance.
And then,
And that also applies to C4 for the special meetings as far as the postings.
and do we give notice to the news media? We, the royal we, as in you? 5?
It says if they have requested notification.
Yeah, so if they're on Sunshine list, then they should be receiving that information.
Yeah. I think the assumption
And-
would be,
Okay, so it's just.
And that's
special.
always following the minimum 24-hour notice anyway.
yeah,
So that's just a duplication.
yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Related to that, the 24-hour notice piece, on B2, there
B.
is, B as in boy, 2. It says the chairperson of each standing committee of the council shall give notice of the time and place of each committee meeting at least 48 hours in advance
Two other members
to
of that
other
committee.
members.
Correct.
Right. So it's 48 for the other members, but it's 24 for the public. Okay.
But, I mean, with regard to the committee meetings, those are usually ironed out at the council meeting prior to the committee meeting, which is typically more than 48 hours anyway.
If I may jump in with one other thing, the on let's see, section A, number 4B, clerk of council shall cause a complete packet of proposed ordinances, resolutions, committee reports, letters to council, etc., to be delivered to each member of council by 2 p.m. on the Friday immediately preceding each Tuesday meeting. I guess I would wonder how others might feel about, if that could be like an end of day Thursday thing or I don't know, some other time earlier than 2 p.m. on Friday. Just because I know as far as being able to contact city staff about certain ordinances, I know that sometimes other items kind of trickle in later. I think just maybe having more time than that, like 2 p.m. Friday to get the packet finalized could be beneficial.
I can see both sides on that. I guess my recommendation would be leaving it with that Friday, 2 o'clock, but adding a C that notes any amendments to the agenda that or anything submitted after that deadline are forwarded on to council members as soon as possible. Because my thing, this was looked at, March, April timeframe. I mean, it probably could be done, but I feel like we would likely have additional amendments to the agenda because of things that are coming through Friday. Yes.
Totally see your point. I think it's very realistic that if we push up the deadline to Thursday, which I'm in favor of, but I don't think that's going to stop anybody from sending us ordinances on Tuesday afternoon. I'm more concerned about the ordinances that come in Monday and Tuesday with very little time to vet them ourselves. I think we've done a decent job of pushing back and making sure we only do one reading whenever there's been a last minute thing. But I feel like that puts us in a bad spot when ordinances come in at the last minute, especially, we've had several this last half of this year that have come in and been needed to be passed that day, and they've come in on a Monday or Tuesday. And I don't know exactly what to do about that, except to really annoy some people who are, may have made honest mistakes or they've
Right.
been put in a bad situation. But I feel like we owe it to the public to make sure that we're slowing down the process especially whenever something comes in on a Monday or Tuesday. On the other hand, I mean, Mr. Miracle is still working on appropriations, and I get exactly why he's doing that. I mean, this is the last meeting of the year, hopefully. So we've got to pay our bills, and I get why some of those things happen. So I don't want to make a hard, fast rule, but I think that is a problem that we collectively, or it falls on council or a president's position. But I think it's something we need to work on this year.
And it does fall, I mean, within the amendment to the agenda, there is nothing that would stop council from choosing not to amend the agenda to add a certain item that was just added that Monday or Tuesday.
I mean, we talked about this earlier in the year, and I think I am in agreement that I think Friday at 2 p.m. is very late for us to get that information. I know on paper that means we have 5 days to go over it, but everyone's lives are different. I work all weekend, every weekend, so I do not have 5 free days to look at it. And I'm sure people have lives and families and things that are not city council that they would love to do with their weekends. And I agree. I think, I understand there being things that happen and last minute things that need to get added. And I think we've been very flexible with that. I think we've been incredibly flexible with that. And I don't think it's unreasonable for us to ask for a little more time to sit with information whenever possible. I think 5 days when 2 of those days are the weekend and one of those days is half over is not really a ton of time to review information. And it's not like we're calling city administration to ask questions over the weekend. At least we're trying not to. Sometimes we are doing that. But I think it's unfair to city administration to put them on the call on the weekends for our questions.
I don't want to be that person
Right.
calling on Sunday,
And if I'm at work on Friday at 2 p.m. and that packet comes through, I might not look at it until 10 p.m. when I get home from work, and then I can't be calling Mr. Moore. I can't, I have, but you shouldn't do that.
So how about, and this may not be well liked, because on the administrative side, it would potentially be more work. What about the idea of council members being forwarded ordinances and resolutions the same day that they're received in the clerk of council's office?
I would love that.
Instead of, the downside to that is you're going to get
a lot of emails.
You're going to get different emails, but if,
I would love that, because sometimes there are, I know, obviously, sometimes we're getting ordinances the day of a council meeting.
Right.
But if they've had an ordinance for 5 days before Friday, then that's 5 more days for us to sit with that piece of information. Even if it changes, we still have a base knowledge of it. I would love to have any information we can have earlier would be helpful to me.
because what I can reach out to either to the clerk of council's office or the law department to see when the law department forwards over the soft copy of the ordinance or resolution, to include all of council on that, so that you're seeing the legislation at the time it is being forwarded over to the clerk of council's office as an FYI of legislation
Yeah.
that's going to be on the agenda.
I think that would be a good kind of, less hard and fast this time, but gives us more information. And yeah, even if it changes, we still have a baseline of what
Correct.
it was. And realistically, most of the stuff that is put before us is stuff I tend to support, but I like to have more information and as much information as possible as early as possible to make sure I'm not missing anything.
And even being even if I see a version that gets edited,
Yeah.
knowing why it was asked to be edited is just giving me more info about that.
And then I don't have to like
Ask that.
ask Keith
Yeah, yeah.
why it was changed.
I know everyone dreams of the 45-minute council meetings returning, and that might move us a little closer to that timeline,
Yes.
you know?
I would love if we have more information, there's less questions that need asked because we get them answered prior to it.
Yeah.
So with that, I mean, that way, we still have a hard date of having the packet, the complete packet, ready for distribution. But council has the opportunity to review all of the pieces of legislation that come in as they come in.
Yeah.
And if it's just a matter of just forwarding it to us, I mean, there'll be more
It's just
emails,
going to be
but
adding, they would just add council.
Distribution list,
Yep.
yeah, I mean.
yeah, then that would be, not,
That seems like a more reasonable ask than like move your entire work schedule a day forward, which I would still love, but yeah, I understand that's a lot to ask of a person.
yeah,
Copy us on these emails seems like a lot easier of a,
yeah. And then I will have them too. Like, if someone asks about what's
Right.
coming up, I'll know even earlier. That way they can maybe plan to come if they want to say something.
Yeah, I think to that point, it has happened just a few times, but it's never fun when it happens. Is somebody on the like sunshine list will sort of get it right at 2:00 or whatever. They'll read it, they'll call me, and they'll be like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Well, let me look at my packet. Let me look at my packet and get back to you."
Hey, I'm at work.
believe it or not, I'm in a meeting right now. I'll call you in 3 hours.
So I don't know if that necessarily has to be added to the rules, but it becomes more of a,
Culture.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I think where I was going with like the Thursday is that like just say end of day Thursday, and it's like however late, whatever, you know what I mean? But basically that like Friday morning, when Angela or Kelsey or however that, opens, it's like, it's all there and this is what we're going off of. If I don't have it when I open my computer Friday morning, then, that was kind of my thought process.
The other thing that I would note on that under B is have clerk of council's office as opposed to the actually listing the clerk of council. Because I can say with 100% certainty, the times when I was the clerk and I put the packets together was only because there was not a secretary to the clerk of council at that time.
so yeah, saying it's the office, so it could be either
Correct.
secretary
It's
or
gonna be the
clerk.
office.
Yeah,
As opposed to the actual individual. Because I'm not going to put Kelsey on the spot, but how many council packets have you assembled?
You just put her on the spot.
I know. So yeah, I would change that to the clerk of council's office shall cause a complete packet. And do we want to note delivered electronically or just leave it as delivered?
Delivered is okay.
delivered time.
And that leaves freedom for if one day we have somebody on council who would rather get a paper copy dropped off or come pick one up in the office or whatever, they could still do that.
Or we get a DDoS attack.
Yeah, that too.
I don't know, off manner.
All right. Any other? Yep.
I don't know what this has to do with exact rules or not.
All right.
But is there any way to speed up our meetings?
No.
I mean, I definitely want to give due diligence to the important business of council. But this year, we've had multiple meetings that we got out at after 10 o'clock. I mean, I don't know if it's just as simple as moving the meeting up to 7, but I don't have a good answer for this. But it seems to me there are multiple meetings that I wonder if we're making our best decisions, and because it's gotten so late that we're probably speeding things along at the end.
Right. I mean, one area that I know of could save time, but again, this is not every meeting, is putting a time limit on the special presentations.
I would not be opposed to that.
I didn't think you would.
We could, I think in the rules even, it already says 15 minutes for special presentations, or maybe I am misremembering that.
I think that's under administration reports, I believe.
Okay,
I don't believe we have a time limit in the rules of council for special presentations.
I would totally be in support of that. And I think when it comes to our like end of the year reports, those could also be, I understand that the departments are obligated to do them and I appreciate that. I think that we could have those emailed to us, like the actual presentations themselves, and be able to review them in advance. And then like have those sent as a part of the packet. And then we could get a brief overview from that department head and be able to like do a Q&A. Because sometimes those do stretch, and not that they are not fascinating, they are, but I would find them equally fascinating reading them in my email. Those do get very long.
So what I've put in here then for special presentations to be submitted with the packet. So it would obviously fall under that deadline. And limited to 15 minutes. And we can take the verbiage under administration reports A, where it basically would allow council the opportunity, if they wanted to extend the time, they could vote to extend the time. But assuming that that presentation is being limited to 15 minutes.
That would also be helpful because sometimes we've done presentations from developers, and not that these TVs aren't great and you don't do a great job with them, because you do, but some people can't see, like me, and sometimes the developers' presentations, I'm like, what is that? What street are we on? I like can't see anything. So if we had that in our email in advance, being able to like actually follow along on our own on a screen that's not across the room would be helpful. I agree, Jeff. I don't know what the answer is to like making meetings more efficient, but I do think that we tend to drag on.
You'd think if Major League Baseball could figure out a way
pitch
to
clock.
impose a shot clock, maybe the slowest moving organization in the world, that there's hope for us all.
I think, one thing that would help is just having those ordinances earlier and having fewer questions that need to be answered the night of. I mean, sometimes it's good to ask a question to get public info out, but you don't always have to.
Is it possible in the case that there's a public hearing and a special presentation that we push the special presentation back to the next meeting?
Oh, no, absolutely we can. Because the public hearings, those have to be scheduled out typically a month in advance anyway.
So if there is one and we think it will be well attended.
Right, because some of them are not.
Yeah, because there's one person, and then that's not a big deal. But if there's going to be a lot of people, it'll be good to make sure. And then the person who's doing the special presentation doesn't have to sit as well.
Yeah.
So in a way, I think we're almost kind of talking about like a governor type of inhibitor on agenda length or agenda substance, in the sense of saying, if we know that a public hearing, like if then logic, like if we know there's a public hearing, then we are not going to have a special presentation that same night. Because if I really think about it, that's, I think, one of the things is like the lumpiness of the meetings of like, some are an hour, but then some are like 4 hours. And it's like, how do we self-regulate so that we have more like 2-hour meetings, and kind of smooth it out?
And there are some public hearings where no one steps up to speak.
Right.
But then there are others where we have 4 public hearings in one night and 4 people speak on each one.
Just to come back to this, does it make sense to keep the meetings at 7:30?
I would be totally fine with moving them to 7. I don't know if that impacts the public at all. Like if there's, I mean, if that would be upsetting to folks at home who like rely on that timeline for them to be able to attend, but it feels very late. And for those long meetings, even that half an hour would make a difference.
I would say, for instance, we do the standing committee, finance committee, Ms. Franz and Mr. Moore. That would mean that we would probably schedule the meeting at 6 o'clock. And any other committee meetings that might want to meet before, or for regular meetings, is it worth keeping it at 7:30 just because of that?
Yeah, that's the issue. You do run into like dinner time and, getting home and then the meetings also get long because you're hangry.
Right. But I also think to that point that functionally, I think that sort of forces you out of the scenario where you have more than one committee meeting. Because I think I can recall at least a couple of times where we've had 2 committee meetings and then a regular meeting, and I'm here from
Too many.
5:30 until 10:30 plus. And that's not a good, you know what I mean? So in a way, if you move it to 7, you really it's only feasible to get one in ahead of it.
I'm not opposed to 7 p.m.
I prefer 7.
Yeah, to be honest, if you get home earlier.
I am curious if there are sort of cascading things that,
Yeah, I don't want to change it and then have like, oh, the reason we do this is because it's literally the
Right.
only time that Norwood television will be
You need
doing
an
it.
extra 30 minutes to
Yeah.
get the item added in.
So it'd be good to check and make sure there's nothing.
another just sort of thought that I have, and I appreciate the concern about the length of the meetings. I'm also balancing with it because we requested the administrative meetings because we were so disconnected with what was happening in administration. And so that was really important to get that input, not only for council members, but sort of the community at large as well. So part of me doesn't want to edit that too much because I do think that there can be a lot of really important information. I also can appreciate the 11 o'clock at night. That this is, we're not making good choices at that point. I know Mr. Provins had suggested the possibility of putting in like, if we hit 2 hours, that we would put it up to a vote to reconvene. I don't know how I feel about that, but I want to throw that out as something that he shared, but that would be helpful, not helpful.
Do you think, I think there's like a certain level of consideration that we have to have for each other that's like, we could all sit and like talk in circles about every single issue all day, but like where do we hit the point where we have to like take a pause and think like, yes, these issues are important and are timely, and if that means we need to call a special meeting to address these the next week, then like we do that. But I do think we have to be appreciative of the facts, like people may have come directly from work, they may have not eaten dinner, they may have to work at 6 a.m. tomorrow, whatever it is. Because it does, having been the person at times who has said like, okay, it is 11 p.m. and I would like for us to end this meeting now, it does make me seem like I'm, not me specifically, but whoever makes, whoever brings that to attention, it seems like you're being like oh, you're shutting the conversation down, you're wanting to end it early.
But
when
there-
it's just
there
like
is
a
a motion.
consideration. Yes, but bringing that to the attention at all does not read very well. And so I think having a process in place, like, hey, we are all acknowledging that we have now hit X amount of time on this meeting. Are we still being constructive at this point, or can we go home with this and re-adjourn later? I think it would be nice to have some.
Would that be at the discretion of the president? Like
Well, you
after
can-
2 hours?
You can make a motion to adjourn anytime.
Right, but I also think some of it is going to depend on items that are still
Pending
on that agenda. The time sensitivity of those items, and knowing that if we were to call, well, we would have to likely call special meetings. And it would be a minimum, I would say, of 48 hours before that meeting could even take place, because we would need the next day to post that to say that the meeting is going to take place the following day. And that's assuming that we have all 6 people there for anything that would require the suspending rules.
For me, if the answer is we suck it up and it's a long night, that's the case. But if there's a process that would work, I would be open to discussing it.
Well, Mr. Gears, maybe what it is, if we if we start that 30 minutes earlier, maybe there's just sort of a built-in, like, it's 9 PM, what do we need to defer, or, what is it, defer consideration to a future date, time specific or indefinite. We just say, hey, we're going to, at that time, figure out how we conduct the rest of the night so that there's like no more than one additional hour that night. Certain things do need attention, but others might not.
Absolutely. And I would love to say, if it's a long night, it's a long night. But I mean, we've gone through windows of time where like every council meeting for 3 months has been a 10:30, 11 PM council meeting. And that is,
And executive sessions can add
Yeah.
to those as well.
yes.
Maybe we just don't do those.
Oh,
It's just not,
why didn't we think of that?
yeah,
Can we
it's so
just
easy.
remove that? No?
No more of that.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Too soon,
Too
sorry.
soon.
All right.
Speaking of time,
Yes.
Yeah.
Were there any other pressing items
Yeah.
with regard to changes to the rules? Because I know we have things to get in order for the council meeting that is starting in 7 minutes.
yeah, I don't have anything else for the rules.
And I would just want to bump back up the new member onboarding. Just I don't know if we need to bring that up on the first as a net new thing, but trying to make sure those couple new folks joining have a good positive experience and get all the kind of orienting they need, which is, I would say, largely self-taught based on my personal experience. So the more we can help them, the better.
Yeah, and there are some things that we'll go over in the first committee of the whole meeting that can kind of talk through some of those items and expectations and invite some of the other elected officials to speak at that meeting as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anything else? Any other items for committee of the whole? Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and say that this committee of the whole meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.